And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Tuesday, February 3rd. And temperatures outside between 5 and 10 degrees. It was a cold start to the morning. Bottomed out between 10 and 20 below. And we do have warmer weather in the forecast. That's the good news. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel, who it looks like is already out at agronomy on ice. That looks like a nice little setup there, Bridgette, behind you.
This is not an ice house. I just came in to one of the cabins here at Woodland Resort so I could do radio for today. So yeah, it's a good day. We probably have about half the ice houses have already arrived this morning, and I got those guys all lined up. So everyone else is showing up yet today into tomorrow. Should be a really good day.
Yeah, weather is going to cooperate. Weather is going to cooperate quite a bit as well for you guys. So that's good news.
Yeah, it's going to be super warm versus we've had some years that are bitter. There's some snow on the ice. There's only a couple of inches, which is really nice because there's going to be a lot less slip and fall accidents that can happen when you have slick glare ice. But it is going to be an excellent day. Today is the Corn and Soybean Expo at the fairgrounds. That is being hosted by North Dakota Soybean and corn growers, then also the councils for soybean and corn, and that continues on until 4:30 today. They have quite the lineup of speakers. If you haven't had a chance, you want to dash on out there and attend, you still have a moment to do that. Otherwise, you can join us tomorrow in Devil's Lake, on Devil's Lake actually, for agronomy on ice.
Awesome. That's always a good turnout too. That's always a good turnout.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Good deal. And like I said, Bridgette, the weather is going to really cooperate out there, and it's going to be pretty decent here in the valley and in the Lakes country as well. A lot of clouds out there today, but it's high clouds, and we're seeing some sun mixed in as well. We had a few flurries earlier, but the rest of the day should be quiet. We should top out right around 15 today with generally light winds, and we're not going to move much tonight. A lot warmer than it was this morning. We'll bottom out between about 6 and 12 above, and then see temperatures rise towards morning as winds turn lightly to the south. And then for Wednesday, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. Winds turn back to the northwest, and we'll have highs in the mid-20s. And the warmest day of the week looks to be Thursday with highs into the upper 30s. We'll briefly cool it down a bit on Friday, back into the 20s, and then windy conditions develop on Saturday. We might have a blowing snow issue to deal with on Saturday, depending on how much of that snow crusts over after the warm weather Thursday and the refreeze on Friday. We'll see how that pans out on Saturday, but could have a blowing snow issue with pretty strong south winds developing and highs in the upper 20s. And then we're back into the mid to upper 30s on Sunday and right around 40 degrees on Monday. It still does look like, according to the LRC, that we will start to get into the stormier part of the LRC cycle. Remember, we said February was going to be stormier than January. That doesn't take much. We only had between 5 and 6 inches of snow across the area for the whole month of January. I think we'll easily surpass that as we head into late next week and in towards the middle of the month. And on line one, we've got Terry. Terry, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. What's going on?
Hey, Dean, I got a question. We were in Cancun last week, and there was a couple of days where it was very cloudy, pretty strong winds, and it was fairly cool. And the locals had said that it was from the weather in the U.S. When we were having all that cold stuff. So how far does this stuff travel? I mean, we were kind of a ways away.
Right. And if you go, I just put in funny you should say that, Terry. If you go onto our website, WDAYradionow.com, I put an article up there, about a half hour ago, explaining what happened where, they had snow all the way down into the Carolinas. And so that whole weather pattern shift pushed all the way down into the Cancun areas and even into the Bahamas, southern Florida, that whole southern region. All those areas got hit by this. So when they said it came from the U.S., well, it came from Canada. But in general, yeah. So it was a big shift in the weather pattern.
Well, I'll have to look at that. And then quickly for Bridgette, we when we go down there, when they pick up the seaweed, they used to pick it up, put it in a wheelbarrow, and then push this through the sand, and then put it in a hole and bury it. Okay. Well, this last week they're running a New Holland. I think it was like a TT7 or something. Anyways, it's got this bar on the back and it turns the seaweed over into the sand, which I thought was pretty cool.
I would guess they're probably drying it out rather than having to push it in and bury it. Maybe they're just letting it dry so it really dries down to nothing like dust. That would make sense based on what you saw.
It was cool too. He's coming down with that tractor, and he had the replica mounted on the hood. And I'm just watching him. He looks like he was having the time of his life.
Every farmer that has been on a beach for a vacation this winter has sent pictures of tractors going by on the beach. It's like you're sorry you left yours at home.
Well, this is the first time I've seen it because they used to use wheelbarrows.
Oh.
They'd push this through the sand. It was like, are you kidding me? And then I heard this, but. I thought, what's going on? I go down there. Here he comes, and he's turning the seaweed over into the sand as he's going. And I thought, all right, now you guys have smartened up.
That's excellent. Maybe it's like a tedder that you use when you have wet hay and you got to flip the hay windrows over. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it was like a steel box, and it had these metal tines that were just straight. And then when he go through the sand, it was just turning the seaweed over into the sand. So
Okay.
yeah, I suppose it's a lot less work than pushing a wheelbarrow.
I would think so. Absolutely. Good labor is hard to find, Terry. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you guys have a good day, and thank you.
Thanks, Terry. You do the same. You do the same.
Too. Thank you so much for calling us, Terry, on the JLA Insurance phone line at 701-293-9000. And anyone can, when you have comments or questions as we go throughout the show today, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us emails, weather or ag@flagfamily.com. And those inboxes are powered by Superior Grain Equipment, handling superior grain solutions. Ooh, had to take a little cough break there. Okay, and the live stream today will be very active, brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities, because we're going to see CPR demonstrated in the studio. Look forward to having you be a part of our Essentia Health Fit Farmer Focus.
And everybody should know how to do CPR. I know a lot of we had to when we were in high school, and I don't know if they do this anymore, but we were required in our phys ed class. It was mandatory to take CPR classes. I don't know if they do that anymore. Ryan, we'll pull you in early here real quick. Do they still do that in schools anymore?
I'm not 100% sure. I do know that some high schools do offer it as a class. I'm not sure if it's a mandatory thing, but I do know that it is offered.
And it's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you just never know when you're going to need it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yep.
it's always a good thing to have. So that voice you hear is Ryan from Essentia Health. And when we come back, we'll be talking with Ryan about CPR. And again, some of the tidbits about CPR, why it is important, and how it can save a life. I mean, for sure. So we'll have more on that with Ryan when we come back.
And that is the perfect reminder that today is Essentia Health Fit Farmer Focus. Our guest from Essentia is Ryan Telford. And Ryan is joining us because February, I do believe, is Heart Month. Did I miss that, Ryan? Or what are we going
Nope.
to do to
Nope.
celebrate that?
February is Heart Month. Yep, for sure.
Sweet. So tell us a little bit about you. What do you do at Ascension? How did you get assigned to be here today with us?
He drew the lucky straw. That's how.
Yeah.
Well, again, my name is Ryan Telford. I'm the STEMI and Chest Pain Center Program Manager at Essentia Health. So I do quite a few things in my role. My main role is to ensure that we are credentialed through the American College of Cardiology, making sure our program is staying up to date with information, protocols, credentialing, all that kind of stuff. So I help make protocols for nursing, education programs. So I do a little bit of everything that has to do with the heart.
And Ryan, we were talking off the air because my dad died of a heart attack at a relatively, I'll call it young age, 75. To me, that's young. I hope it is. And my mom had some heart problems, but not until she was past 90. How much is the heart genetic? If you have heart problems, how much of it is genetic and how much of it isn't?
Mm-hmm. Well, I read something about a little over a year ago that said we're about 50 to 70% genetically designed from our parents.
Okay.
So we have a little influence. We have a little bit of change that we can make, but a majority of what we are or who we are is genetic. So that's from, mom and dad and genes. But obviously we can affect what we do by what we intake, right? Eat and drink.
Right.
How much physical activity we have. Mental health is big too. So there's a lot of things that we can do to decrease our risk for any type of cardiac events, later on.
So you said mental health and stress. Stress has a big. Does stress play a bigger part in heart health than what you eat, or they're both equally important?
Well, I can't quantify that specifically,
Okay.
although it does definitely play a role for sure. Stress isn't good for really. I mean, it's normal to have some stress, right?
Everybody
that's normal
does.
and standard.
Yeah.
But when it gets excessive or if it's chronic, that's when it can play a larger role in our physical and mental health.
How do you know if it's chronic? How do you know when stress is too much? Like each individual might be different. Like, I don't think I'm very stressed, but maybe I go in for a stress test and they say, your numbers are off the chart. How do you know?
That's subjective, I think.
Okay.
What I can tolerate maybe not be what you can tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's each individual level of stress level that we can tolerate. And blood pressure is going to help maybe kind of control that. But then, if you're chronically stressed, you're going to release hormones, you're going to release cortisol in your blood. And it's going to affect everything, really. It can affect your whole body and how you work and function.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But also sleep, right? Because if we're going to have stress in our lives, we still need to get that good rest because our heart is our strongest muscle, and
Mm-hmm.
giving it a chance to slow down is probably one of the best benefits we could give.
Yep, sleep is a huge thing that I think we overlook. And as we're younger, I think we're like, we're good. We can survive in 5-6 hours of sleep.
Right.
As we get older, especially, I think we need to kind of slow down a little bit and focus a little bit more on that overall.
I think Ryan just gave me permission to take a nap today.
I will
I'm
not
okay with
confirm
that.
nor deny that.
There's something to the fact that there are different types of heart attacks.
Yeah.
I figured there was the Widowmaker, and then there was the one that didn't kill you. But there's more than that, right?
Yeah, there's different parts of the heart can be affected depending on where it's occurring. I know that there's like blood clots that can occur. There's a plaque that can rupture. There's something called a spasm where an artery can actually kind of clamp down for a little bit. That can also prevent blood from getting where it needs to go. So there's different types of heart attacks. Some that you can definitely see on when they put all those stickers on you, and it's called a 12 lead EKG or ECG. We can see one on there. Sometimes we can see them by just blood work. It's called an N-STEMI, where you don't necessarily see it on the EKG, but you can see it through some blood work. It's not as critical as the actual active heart attack. So there's different ways that we can see them. And then when we take you for an angiogram, we go in there and we can shoot contrast in your arteries and see where the blockage is. That's where we can be more definitive with it.
Those are great helps because I think oftentimes farmers are better at diagnosing the blockages in their grain handling systems or in their planters than thinking about the blockages in their own hearts.
Yep.
And statistically speaking, I don't think it's broken down by industry to say who's more likely or prone. It probably has less to do with your industry, but a lot more to do with your lifestyle. So maybe the cab snacks aren't always a good idea, or you could do better to prevent some of the heart disease that could happen to you.
Definitely like processed food, higher fat. Those are usually the ones that you can get on the shelf, right? That have a shelf life. Even just replacing a couple of those a week with, something more fresh that can go bad. So like a banana or an apple, or what I like to do is I'll eat a banana and I'll have a little fruit dip with it, or an apple with some caramel. That way you still get that little sweetness and you get kind of the fun stuff with it. But if you could just replace even one or two of those a week, it's a start. And then maybe you can create and develop that habit.
And what about signs of a heart attack? It's not, sometimes you'll get those little subtle signs that you might overlook. But when you get those subtle signs, maybe that's the time you should be heading to your primary care doctor.
Yep.
What are some of those signs?
The most common sign or symptom of a heart attack is still chest discomfort of some kind, whether it's a sharp pain, it can be an ache, a fullness, heaviness, all that counts as the same thing. So you don't have to feel like you're getting stabbed with a knife for it to be a heart problem or a heart attack.
Always on the left side?
Not necessarily.
Oh.
Center of the chest, but especially in males, it can migrate to your jaw, your neck, shoulder, arm. All those are primarily in men. You can have that in females as well. But those are the primary signs and symptoms, especially for men, for the discomfort. You can also have shortness of breath, dizziness, headache, not feeling good, weak. All those are signs and symptoms of a heart attack. With women, they can be a little bit different. Their signs and symptoms can be a little bit more subtle. So common ones with women are upper back discomfort or upper back pain between the shoulder blades. And again, weakness is another one. But I think we've all been weak and felt tired before. But the big thing that we want you guys to get out of this, or we want to just pass on, is you know yourself better than anybody else. If you see or feel or just nothing seems right or just doesn't seem right, you need to get checked. So that's either going to your primary, going to the emergency department, or calling 911 for an ambulance.
And always good to see your primary care on an annual basis.
Yes.
I know a lot of people, in our ag community and just people in general, you're busy, you're busy out in the field. You're busy during harvest or planting and just everyday life. And everybody should take that time to see your primary care to avoid any problems with the heart.
And it's not always just to diagnose something or try to find something, but you might say something to where your provider will be like, that might turn on a light bulb that maybe you maybe avoided. You're like, it's nothing. But maybe that might trigger something to where it'd be like, yeah, maybe we should do X, Y, and Z. And then maybe that might take you down a trail and, maybe you do have cardiovascular disease, or maybe you do need to have a CT scan or something, or get some blood drawn. So it's not always the worst case scenario. It's other things that is prevention. So if you don't do something now, 10 years from now, if you didn't do anything about it, now it's at a point where maybe we can't do much for you anymore. So we want you to we want to promote prevention, and try to go in and get a primary for sure.
Boy, and today is going to be a day that's not only about prevention, but overall care, because we're going to have some demonstrations. We get to see CPR. We're going to talk about how it's changed over the years. The fact that when we live in rural areas, knowing CPR, whether you're part of an ambulance department, a fire department, or just needing to know for your own home and farm, is a great idea. So when we return, let's talk about CPR. Welcome to Fit Farmer Focus with Essentia Health. Ooh, and by the way, Landmark Companies, they are here for your drainage needs. They join us the first Monday of every month for the Drainage Difference, which Blake Sunday did yesterday. And if you have questions about early order discounts, precision drainage, and proven results, Landmark wants to hear from you. You could even come and see them at Agronomy on Ice tomorrow up on Devil's Lake. Ryan Telford is joining us in the studio for Essentia Health Fit Farmer Focus. Okay, Ryan, I remember learning CPR as a kid, like high school, right?
Yep.
So my question is, what's changed? How is it different versus what I might have known? The only thing I really remember that's been updated is that we use the Bee Gees tune, Staying Alive. But I think I might need more than that.
Well, actually, that's still pretty common. The other option you could use, which I don't recommend unless you have kids, is the song. Oh my God, I forgot the song. Anyways, Staying Alive is still used. The Baby Shark is the other one that I was trying to think of, but I don't know if you'd want to get that in your head.
No, I do not, but thank you, it's there.
Yeah, but so we actually use that for children and kids, as we use that because that's about the same tempo as Staying Alive. So it's about 100 to 120 beats per minute is what we want to provide CPR. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. For folks who aren't seeing this demonstration, get on that live stream brought up to us by Lighthouse Commodities. You're going to want to see what Ryan's off to do. So,
Yeah.
are you going to walk us through what's our next step? We've found someone and we believe they have a heart attack occurring.
Yes. So if you come across somebody who is not responsive or you don't know really what happened to them, first thing we want to do is we want to check for responsiveness. We're like, hey, are you okay? Then at that point, if you have the ability to have a phone, we want you to go call 911 right away, get them on their way. We want you to come back to the person and again check, make sure if they're not awake and not responding, we want you to start CPR. And obviously if somebody is awake or wants to move away from you when you start pushing on your chest, it's probably a good sign. However, before we start CPR, we want to make sure we have a good landmark. So when we're looking for landmarks, we want to look for the center of the chest. We do not want to go down too far. So actually on the bottom of your chest here, there's a little point. We'd want to avoid that at all costs. We want to go up north a little higher. So right in the middle of the chest, we want to take a palm, whichever one you want to use, it doesn't matter. We want you to put the very palm and heel of your hand right in the center of the chest. And then with the other hand, we want to go right over the top. And I like to kind of crinkle my fingers together like so. And what we want to do is we want to lock our elbows, okay? So what you will find out is if you do this, you have about 20 seconds before you need to stop because you're so exhausted and tired. If you lock your elbows and you use the weight of your body and you rock, it's going to give you a lot more weight to push down, and you're going to be able to tolerate it for a lot longer. So again, heel of the hand, center of the chest, other hand over the top, lock our elbows, and we want you to push straight down at least 2.5 inches for an adult. So we'll go straight down, okay? So we mentioned a second
ago. That's a
ago,
lot more than one might think, right?
Yeah, about 2.5 inches is what we want to do. Yep. So when we go and we start compressing, we push down and we just kind of rock with our body. And what we do is we keep our wrists locked and our elbows locked like so. And what we do is we want to go to at least 100 to 120. So if you think 2 compressions per second, that's 120. So I will demonstrate here like around that 100 and 120 here. So ready? 1, 2. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but
Yes, we can. I can see it on the cameras.
and I'm rocking with at my hips here and not using my arms at all. So what you can do is we want you to keep doing this. I know probably when you took it years ago that they would do 30 compressions, stop and give 2 breaths.
Yep.
Now we just want people to learn and only do the hands-only CPR. And the reason we say that is every time you stop and then have to restart, it takes like 5, 6, 7 compressions to get blood back into your brain again. So the more we
Oh.
stop, the more compressions and delay it's going to get blood to the brain. So if we can just do the hands-only CPR, we have about 8 minutes of oxygen in our blood that's just sitting there waiting to be transported. So even if you just do CPR until EMS arrives, that is sufficient. So,
Wow.
so we
Okay.
don't have to do the breathing anymore.
Okay, good to know. No more breathing, compressions, and 2.5 inches from what I saw you
Yep.
demonstrating on the CPR doll
Mhm.
is a lot more than people think.
Yes, and the it would not surprise me if you do maybe feel some cracking and breaking. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen all the time. But at least you know you're getting a good compression. Because if you do not get a good compression, you're not going to get good blood circulation through your body, and it's not going to, be as effective.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Lots of questions to go along with that, Ryan. And for folks who may have those questions themselves, again, you can reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line of 701-293-9000. This might not be something that you can necessarily answer, but I'm curious, Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
how long on average does someone need to do CPR before additional help arrives? Because you said if you do it right, rock back and forth on those hips, you can probably go for about 20 minutes. Do you know if there's like an average of length of time?
Well, what they found with studies is if you compress for more than about 2 minutes, you start losing your effectiveness just because you just get tired. That's part of the reason why they would have us swap out after 2 minutes with another person, if you have that ability to do that. Now, obviously, if you're by yourself or you don't have anybody there to help you, then you just have to keep going and go until EMS arrives. In rural areas, it might take a little bit longer, but you have to at least try, as long as you can and push and as hard as you can until they can get there.
When we think about the key messages that we want people to remember, I just want to reiterate those.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to worry about the breathing in the way that we once did.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have those compressions of 2.5 inches.
Yep.
Don't be afraid if you hear things making noise.
Yep.
And and the lock, and what you said about whether or not to lock your arms. Could you reiterate that for folks?
Sure. So, again, we want to completely extend whichever arm you want to use as your dominant one on the chest. That's fine. So we want to put the heel of our palm, extend our arm out, lock our elbow, put it in the center of the chest. Again, lock the other hand over the top, lock both elbows, and then you just rock your lower body. Okay? So we do that for, like I said, as long as you can or until EMS arrives or the sheriff or fire or whoever arrives. So it's not this. We lock our elbows and just use our body weight to rock. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that makes a big difference. I can see on the video, and if you're not watching the live stream brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities, you can certainly go back on YouTube, Facebook, and Acres TV and see the demonstration and be prepared. So Ryan, as some other questions as well for you, who should take CPR? Is there an age where you're too young or maybe not strong enough to start using it?
No, actually,
Come on over to the desk.
We're getting him back to the desk.
That's okay. He's got a moment. He can get adjusted.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got him, Ryan.
Perfect.
Okay. There really isn't a young age, or you don't even, and honestly, you don't even have to be certified. Anybody can perform CPR. We actually, Essentia Health actually goes to West Fargo, and we teach hands-only CPR to all the 5th graders in West Fargo. And then we also demonstrate signs and symptoms of heart attack, signs and symptoms of stroke, and then how to stop a bleed. So we're doing this with 5th graders, so about 10-year-olds or so. So there really isn't like a too young, although I will say, even if you, with these 5th graders, even if you show them and get them the understanding of how to recognize symptoms, because at least they can call 911,
Right.
right?
Their mom and dad might be having a heart attack, and they know the signs. Bam. You can
Yep.
call. Yep.
Yep. So they don't necessarily have to do the CPR part, but they can at least call 911 and get somebody, or go to the neighbor's house, or go get a sibling, or, they can at least activate the system to get help, for sure.
Oh, that's a great point. Gosh, I had one more question for you. February is Heart Month, Heart Health. Are there reminders? Like, if I remember right, I'm supposed to change the batteries in my smoke detector every April Fool's Day. So what should I do in February to have good heart health?
It's going to be hard to avoid those sugars and the sweets. I think we all kind of indulge in those in
Especially
February.
Valentine's Day,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yep, exactly.
What, did you see my lunch?
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because if you're in the area, if you're in the Fargo-Moorhead area, actually it happens to be Valentine's Day on Saturday. We're having a Save a Life Saturday at West Acres Mall, and we're going to have tables out there with different. So Essentia is going to be there. I think local ambulance service is going to be there. We're also going to be demonstrating CPR there too. So if you wanted to actually come and practice on a mannequin, we'll have those there too. So that'll be something it's a free event. It's right in kind of the middle of the mall. If you guys wanted to come and do that, and when it comes to just CPR in general, you don't have to have an official card to learn how to do it. Anybody can save anybody's life at any time with CPR.
Right. And Ryan, there's one other thing you wanted to hit on before we leave.
So actually, Essentia Health actually has a couple different things. We have a free cardiac assessment or heart assessment that we can offer, and it's free on the Essentia Health website. If you go to the Essentia Health website and just type in Essentia Health Heart Assessment, there's about 15 questions on there. And what they'll do is it asks you like if you have high cholesterol, if you have any family history, if you're diabetic. And what it'll do is it'll kind of tabulate everything, and then it's going to get your demographics and information, and then it's going to tell you your risk, if you have a low risk, moderate risk, high risk of heart disease or potential heart risk. And then with that as well, Essentia Health also offers two things. We offer an actual heart screening and a vascular screening. So a heart screening would be you get a CT scan to see if you have any calcium built up in your heart. You get a blood test. You get a 12-lead ECG where they put all those stickers on you, and you get to see a provider for only $50, which is dirt cheap. And then we also offer a vascular screening. So that's more of like your aorta. That's your big artery in your body. Transports most of your blood to your body. Your carotids in your neck, screening for that. And then we check your legs, and that's a different one. That's a vascular screening, and that's only $75. So in theory, you could get your whole body done for like $125, which again is dirt cheap. So,
and if it can save your life, if you can, get something pointed out, hey, you got to get this taken care of.
Yep.
Well worth it.
Yep.
Well
and
worth
actually,
it.
I did the heart screening last year, so
Okay.
so I'm good as of right now.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, to those of you who might be hauling grain, getting ready for calving season, etc., don't forget to make this phone call as well. And that is to check into your heart health. That's the reminder for our month of February and our Fit Farmer Focus and Ryan Telford from Essentia Health. Thank you for coming over. You had to have like the most active guest award for having to do CPR and back and forth to the desk. Congratulations. That was smooth.
It was fun, actually.
He got his exercise in just
That's
today
right.
for
Yep,
the whole
exactly.
day. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, when we come back, we're going to have a quick recap on the weather and let you know about the warmer weather heading our way. That and more when we come back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:55 in the afternoon. We've got cloudy skies out there, temperature 8 degrees here at the studio. On our way up to about 15 today, and could see a few flurries overnight tonight. And then we're kind of up and down in the temperatures over the next few days. We'll be back up into the mid-20s tomorrow, light winds, and then Thursday all the way up into the upper 30s. That will be the warm day of the week. And then we'll cool it down a little bit on Friday as a cold front comes through, low 20s, then back up into the upper 20s Saturday with windy conditions out of the south, and then back up into the mid to upper 30s on Sunday, right around 40 to start off next week, looking nice. And then the middle and end of next week we'll be keeping an eye on as we're going to start to see a shift in the weather pattern that brings more storminess into the west. And that usually translates to stormier than normal conditions for the northern and central plains as well. So from, let's say, the middle of next week through the middle of the month, about the 20th, that's our key time frame of stormier weather here in our area. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow. We'll have Gary Lezak, the founder of the LRC. He will be on our program tomorrow starting at 1:15. So if you have any questions for Gary, get those ready. And you can give us a call tomorrow when Gary is on with us. So we'll kind of be recapping what the rest of the winter holds. And for our ag community, what does the spring look like? Are we going to carry these dry conditions into planting season, or will we get some beneficial and timely rains? You know, what about the drought conditions that have been plaguing the West and off into Western Canada? You know, how is that going to play an impact in terms of wildfire smoke in our area over the summer as well? So we'll be going over a whole plethora of things tomorrow with Gary about the LRC. And unfortunately, Bridgette won't be here tomorrow. She's going to be one of the guest speakers at Agronomy on Ice. Is that correct, Bridgette? I know you're out there, but you are one of the speakers, right?
I can say less guest speakers, call it more of a hosting situation.
Okay.
So there are not speakers or seminars. This is, if you went to a farm trade show and you walked through the trade show and you walked from house to house, or excuse me, from booth to booth, that's what you're doing here. You're literally walking from ice house to ice house. And
Nice.
so
Okay.
I am one of the organizers. I'm part of the Ag Mafia, and we have houses setting up. We've got people getting ready. There will be all sorts of food options because that's kind of the thing. You get to a house and these guys made ribs and those guys smoked meatballs and this one's got hot chocolate. So it'll be a fun day of farming, food, and fishing.
Awesome. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. All three in one. All three in one. Well, that'll do it for today's Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.